got a game to get to.
I know. I got a game tonight, which again, I will just go ahead and just say this is going to be the type of game that if they're going to lose, this is going to be
But like, could you not? Because as an Eagles fan, we need as much space in the NFC East. And the Bears were supposed to give us the first place in the NFC East. All they had to do was not tip up a Hail Mary. It's literally all they had to do. And then they did. And so now the Eagles are tied with the Commanders. So even though the Giants are way back there, if y'all could just not lose this game, it is a trap game. I look when I
that.
looked at the schedule, I said, or when I looked at the Monday night game, I was like, that's a trap game because everything tells me that the Steelers should just roll over them. But I know how these things go.
And every time somebody says, I feel like this is a game they should win,
Yes,
like part of me dies inside because I'm like,
I get it.
I know, and this is why.
Yeah,
I'll be sitting there at 11 o'clock tonight with my hands in my head, or my head in my hands, like, why is this coming down to the
yeah,
last 25 seconds of the game?
yes.
But I don't know. I mean, Russell Wilson seems to be I mean,
That
his
first start was shaky, but or the first
well, yeah,
half
I
of
feel like he was a little rusty, if you get what I'm saying. Um, and he was, but like
yes.
he's too busy knocking up Ciara right now.
And at that point, I literally said, why
Russ,
are you still playing? Like, you have the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying quit once you win the Super Bowl, but like once things started going downhill in Denver, I I mean the contract, like if you have to play to get the money, like I don't know how much you have saved, I don't know how much was guaranteed in your last contract,
right?
but I know that you did get signed for a lot. So maybe you're just sticking around for that. But to me, if I'm looking, I've got the numbers, I've got the Super Bowl win, and then I'm looking, I'm like, oh, my wife is Sierra. You will never see me again. Like, don't text me, don't call me.
Uh, I mean, like, isn't she? Because I thought she just posted something where she's pregnant again, and or
She
maybe I'm
might
wrong.
be.
I don't
She
know.
could
Like,
be. She could
one of them
be. And
has one of them has a reading kink. Well, you want to say that out loud.
I let's
So
find
yes,
out.
the game is I can't tell if it's old, like if she was just saying. I know, like at one point he was like on one of her pictures, he was like, I'm ready again. He's like, we could name the next one Cinco. I was like, my brother in Christ. stay stay off of her. Yeah, it's
I don't see it,
yeah,
but I wouldn't be surprised. I would
right.
not be surprised.
Right. Um, yeah. So yes, that game is tonight. I'm apparently she might be pregnant with twins. So, okay, but that's just
All right. Maybe that's why he's still playing. He's like Philip Rivers, got all those kids' mouths to feed. Just gotta
right. I
keep
think like the
going.
last post she had put on Instagram, he said that, and somebody had said, Russell, get off of her. But that's neither here nor there. That is not why we're
Ugh.
here, is to
Anyway,
discuss Russell Wilson's potency.
yes.
But yes, please let them win. No, actually, I was going to ask if we could do something different and actually start with Agatha. Because
Yeah.
first of all, have you seen Agatha?
Yes. Yes.
So that was really creepy.
I was like, whoa. And then I saw the tail at the back. For a
Yes.
second, I was like, all right.
Let me go shut that door real quick.
All right.
Now you're trapped in here. All right. So, because I'm not having you walk in and out. Um, it was rumored to be Joe Locke's favorite episode of the series.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like what is this gonna be? Oh my gosh. was blown away. Like, bel I had, I was not, I don't want to say I was so emotional by the end of that, but emotions were kicked up in that.
Yeah,
I was so happy for her, so sad for her.
all
It
of
was
it.
all of it at the same time. Like, it was, yeah, like you said, it was mind blowing. The editing in that,
The
which proves the
editing
editing
was
in the entire
phenomenal.
series has
Yes,
been insane. For those writers to have written that in such a loop, I, I
yes,
don't,
like
I don't have words.
everything you said emotionally with her story, the way that they made you care and sympathize for her was just amazing. And then the way that they were able to tell this time traveling story and have this piece connect to this piece, but then have the camera go back to like what just
Incredible.
so good.
So good.
Incredible.
I,
And then the costumes, like I feel like that's like I loved the episode so much, like with the editing and the
right.
storytelling, that each episode, each trial is a different theme, and I just love how on point the costumes were. But it's almost like as out in your face as they were, the costumes took a back seat again to the storytelling and the editing because it was that good.
It was so good. Yeah, you would have felt like, okay, well, this is just too much. Like this
Right.
is just too much. And you're right. It was like you for a second you even kind of forgot that they were in the costumes as the like famous witches over time
Yes.
and genres. It just incredible. Like it the way that like I mean you and I have both watched the new Rockstar, so we've seen breakdowns of it, and they had hinted that their hypothesis, their theory was that the Agatha or don't save Alice, don't save Agatha was all blended together. And
Yeah.
to see them be right about that, and it was like, and for all of those, like,
The screaming in the episode where they first meet her character, the I hated this the last time, like all of those different things, seeing her coven, the old dead person that you saw in the second episode or whatever, and you didn't really know who it was, and now knowing that that was her mentor, and knowing that she was running from death, and that's kind of why she, in a sense, gave up her powers. Just
so good, so
I don't know
good.
how long the episode was, but like it was one of those episodes where in less than an hour, you like emotionally got me invested in this entire storyline that you were able to tell, starting in the middle, going to the end, going back to the beginning, back to the middle. But at the end, it made sense. Like, shout out to those writers. I know I've said that Penguin is probably one of the best shows I've watched all year, and Agatha, I've given it his flowers. It's been great. But
Right.
this episode, blown away.
To yes, to make that puzzle make sense,
Yes.
to have like to have her loop and then come back, and like to have her come out of it and tell Jen real fast, like blurt everything out, like, and knowing that she's like, I'm going to lose my time again, or I'm going to disappear and you have to remind me. And the fact that they didn't, like, you felt disoriented watching it, but then it was like as the things started to click in, you're like, oh, and it was like
Yeah.
yeah, and it was just so beautiful of like just even just to her mentor of just being like, death comes first, like give it up, just
Yeah.
relax into that and just quit running from it and remember why you are even living in the first place. Like, oh, it was beautiful, it was emotion, it was crazy. Best, I thought it was, I was like, and then go right into the Penguin like a few days later, and I'm like, this is some of the best TV
Yes.
like that is going on right now. Like,
That
this
like
is
4 day
insane.
stretch. It was just
Like
knocked it
he's
out of the park.
hammering of just like,
Right.
I'm like, I was like, like after last night, I'm like, I am like so blessed to be living this
Yes.
week, like to have experienced two vastly different shows, you know, with, because again, Agatha is nowhere near as dark as what The Penguin is.
No.
But like you're still dealing with, issues of death and all that kind of, when that kind of stuff and your place in the world and your mortality and all that, and even a sense of fan. And then you go into Penguin and you're like, what
Going
is
back to death
happening?
and mortality again.
Yeah, like what am I doing here? Like this is
Yeah.
the amazing, like this is amazing. I can't believe it. I love this so much. Like if I could just rewatch, I really do really want to watch Agatha from the beginning and see all those things that she had been
Yeah.
saying. Um, that I mean, so good,
That
so good to
connected.
have her in those scenes blurting out stuff, and maybe even she didn't know
Yeah.
how does this all relate in the end, and for them to do it, and yeah, that's we won't get
The
any
only
spoilers.
part I like chuckled at, it's not even anything against them. It just shows you what the age of nerds has come to. But the big reveal of Rio being death,
Yeah,
like they had the suspenseful music building up, and then they showed all of the scenes whenever death was mentioned, and it would like
right.
pan to Rio, and they're at the Ouija board, and it spells out death, and then it
She
immediately cuts
laughs.
to Rio, and it was like supposed to be this big reveal with the music, and I'm like, yeah, we know, like
We already knew,
we've known.
but and it was one of those things that. But what that even says is, with the majority of people already knowing that information and that episode still being able to blow you away,
Yes,
that is
very
what's
true.
like, you're like, who cares? Like, yeah, we knew about her. Like, I don't even care about her right now. Like, what Patty LuPone is doing right now in this, and just the
Seeing all the
craft of these
tarot
writers.
cards throughout the episodes now
Yes,
right in front of you, like just, and it was so
mind blowing.
subtle. Like they were obviously there, but it was subtle enough that even if you saw it, you didn't look into it. And then
Hmm.
now it's like this making sense. And then just even that, where you knew that the other two witches were alive and it wasn't just Teen and Agatha.
Right,
But so then they're doing the tarot card reading and they're doing it wrong. So then Lilia gets there and it's with the teen who they've pretty much pointed to, like, yeah, this is,
right.
you
His
know,
story.
his story, and still it not working with the tarot card
Right.
person there. And then like the real reveal of the episode is that no, this is her having to do it to herself. It just
Yes,
I
this is
I
her
love
trial.
it
Yeah, this
so
was her
much.
trial. Like you think, okay, she's there to read his. Yeah, you're there. She's there to read his fortune and to
Yeah.
find out what his purpose is here. And you're like, wow, that's even just going to be great as it is. And then to find out, no, this is her getting to. So all the looping stops, and she gets to a place where it's like all of her future selves have warned her past self this is what it is, and now she can fully settle into that past self and move
Yes.
along. Okay. Oh, it was so good. I can't like so good. If you haven't seen it, you actually, it's like one of those things where it's like we've kind of always been on the fence of like whether or not you should be watching this show.
Yes. Go
That
watch it.
episode
Go
is
watch
like,
it.
go watch it. We don't even know how it's going to end. We know it's
Right.
going to have the last two are going to be this week, right?
This week, and it's going to be two episodes. So
Right.
essentially, just back-to-back episodes that wrap it up completely.
Right. So
And
it could fall apart completely at the end
yeah,
here, but just based on that episode alone, it's like definitely go see that series. Like that series is
it is
that
worth it. If it bombs, you could watch it up to that point because the
and be
build up,
okay.
all the episodes have been good, and the build up to that specific episode, that makes it worth it. Whatever
It
happens on these
it
next two
really
episodes this
it
week.
really does. It really does. If you just want to watch it as Patty LuPone finding her purpose
Right.
in her witch life,
100%.
just watch it for that.
I'm all for it.
That's and then you have Penguin on Sunday. And again, some of those I can think of if I'm not to be like just go into dead air here, but I'm thinking of three or four scenes, three scenes that really hit.
Wait. Because I have three scenes
Do
right
you
here.
really? Let me see if
I
I
was like,
let me see if let me see if they're the same as mine. Since you don't know what mine, let me go ahead and you have yours written down, right?
yes,
Okay. I'm gonna say the scene between Eve and Sophia.
the prostitute. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Is her name Eve? I think
I believe so. I
okay.
forgot, but now that you say it, yes, I have Sophia and the prostitute.
Okay.
That is what I've written.
I believe her name's I think okay, so even Sophia. Okay.
Yes.
That great scene. Um Oz and Vic after he shoots Squid, spoiler alert.
Yes.
Okay. And Oz and his mother.
Okay, so we're two out of three.
Okay.
That one was good. My third one, and I get it's like the cliffhanger, but the scene at the end
Okay.
where Sophia's in the house. That one is kind of a gimme. I don't know if that one counts.
I
And
was
I
thinking
have
strictly like interaction. I was thinking like
okay,
dialogue
fair.
interaction ones. Yeah.
The intense or suspense is like the word I would use to define this episode because those scenes where you just were uncomfortable at the edge of your seat, not knowing what was going to happen. So my honorable mention outside of those three scenes is not just Vic and the Penguin, which I think that scene was phenomenal, where he whispers it gets easier, like chilling, but Vic and Squid, the both
Oh yes.
times, but specifically the second time, like I knew with each situation, Vic has become more, I won't say evil, but he's killing people. So in a
He's
sense,
he's getting
more
more into the
flawed.
lifestyle. Yeah,
Yes.
he's becoming more acclimated to the underworld.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't know if that guy died, but he definitely paralyzed the guy when he rammed him with his car. Like, I know that they're treating the one with Squid as his first body, but I'm
Right.
like, I remember correctly, that guy, if he's not dead, he's wishing he was dead.
Right. And I think
But
he looked at that moment as kind of more of like save Oz
a
kind of
rescue.
moment
Yeah.
than yeah, than like that guy deserved to die because he was attacking that,
Yeah.
like this was all going bad. So he probably doesn't even really think about that. This is the one where he like you want to say hand to hand combat, but I mean like
Though, yeah, that conversation with the stuttering and
oh,
being, I guess, submissive to Squid in the previous episode and in the previous episode before with the flooding, and then again when he sees Squid and immediately like goes into a shell of himself. Oh, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. Like he wanted no problems with him, and then you just see the buildup. So I felt like what happened was what was going to happen, but just the suspense of just those two
oh
characters
yeah.
interacting, and then in the end, him being like, "Okay, this is what I'm have to do. This is what I'm going to do," and then the real reaction after of like, you just killed somebody.
And yeah, like
But
him saying I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like
yeah,
him yeah, realizing what he actually did and like that he's not like yeah he wasn't caught and it was a clean getaway but that was by no means a clean kill like he shot
right,
somebody not right
everywhere.
yeah like he nicked his jugular and let him
Yeah,
bleed out
blood on
like
the shoes and all of that.
right so it's like it wasn't a clean kill it was messy it was gross he was there
Yes,
for it he was begging he was regretting it in the moment it was yeah, that's
yeah,
but him going to Oz and like him not even having to say what he did and just he was
right,
just like, were you seen? Did you get caught? And he's like, no, and then they like, why don't you just go get some sleep? Like
yeah.
go rest about this. And then the whole it gets easier, just like he's like a father figure, but like the worst
He's dipping into like almost like Thanos territory, except for he actually was a father, but like you were on your way there. But
right.
yeah, that one and then Sophia and Eve,
Whew.
that I think that interaction was probably my favorite of the episode. And I mean, this kind of goes back to like the whole House of the Dragon episode where it was just all the multiple one-on-one scenes of people. Like this one was that's what this episode reminded me of. But when Sophia is looking for her, because like you had mentioned earlier, I think it was you, maybe it was New Rockstars, but they mentioned like Eve was getting a lot of screen time, and we felt like that was going to
Right.
circle back. and their interactions where Eve was pretty sure she was going to die because
Oh,
as far as she
absolutely.
knows, Sophia's the hangman, but she was loyal to
Her girls,
her people, her
her
girls.
family.
Yeah, and they were loyal to her, which I think so obviously Sophia saw and recognized and respected. But the interaction between the two of them, her assuming she's going to die, talking back and forth, like even though you're in charge in this situation, like I allowed you to find me, and it was easy money for us. Like having the confidence to say that with a gun in your face, just the back and forth. Sophia realizing that she thinks she's the hangman, realizing that she was basically sacrificing herself so that her girls wouldn't suffer the same fate
Right.
as the other girls did at the hands of the hangman. And then Sophia telling her basically how it really happened and calling out Oz and the realization, just a
So
lot of good interactions. I know a lot of people, Oz and his mother was a good one for them, but for me, Sophia and Eve, that one for me was just phenomenal dialogue.
yeah, the entire episode was family. You could tell it was just
Yes.
about different like not your typical family where yes, you did have Oz and his mother, but you had Oz and Vic, you had I can't think of Maroney, Sal Maroney and Sophia at the beginning. And
Yeah.
she's been raised to believe that this is your enemy. And he ends up being a father figure to her. Like
Yeah.
they're in the kitchen
But
doing
as
very
in the
domestic
kitchen, like
things.
the homiest place in our house,
God, I
talk,
just
talking
something
about recipe,
right.
talking about
Go ahead.
recipes and all of
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Like that was a good whoa.
I know. I'm suffering here. This is going really well. Um, so yeah, but no, like the whole thing was like family based. Like it was like again, the Maroney, like she's dealing with Sal, like learning about Sal Maroney, and like he's talking about his family and how he's cooking. He cooked a certain, cooked it a certain way for, his son, and like again, like she looks at him like, well, he's being more and she had even mentioned before in another episode, like the thing that she kind of ended up respecting about them was that they seemed family, but like her family had turned their back on her easily
In an
and had
instant.
thrown her to the wolves instantly, whereas like he was very much like they were very much about family. So you had her interaction with him at the beginning. Like I said, you have Oz and his mother, obviously, which was you come off of an episode where he's basically lighting people on fire,
Yes.
and then you see him being so delicate with his mother and putting on her makeup, but like, like his hands are still dirty, and he doesn't know how to, and he's putting on makeup from like an older decade, and he's, and just her telling him, don't let me become a vegetable, you've got to take me out, and just
Yeah.
you could see the weight that
That was
put on him. And so you have that interaction. Then like I said, you have Oz and Vic, who then they're like kind of a father son, brother brother, and then you have Eve and Sophia at the end, where Sophia even realizes that Eve even has a family dynamic that she herself
yeah.
didn't, like she didn't ever have for her entire existence growing up. And it's
And she
almost
even
like,
commented on that. She even said, like, must be nicer. I wouldn't know, something like that, referring
right,
to the loyalty that Eve and her girls have to each other.
right, as a family unit. And she's just
Yeah.
like, this isn't, so it's like you see her, the power dynamic between those two, because again, you're right, like Eve is like, I was convinced Eve was dead,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, especially they're sitting across from each other and she's like, you were his alibi, like you were, and I
When my
thought,
brother died.
them like, this is
Yeah.
going
That's
nowhere
it. That's it
good.
for you.
This is, yeah, like, it's nice knowing you, this is going to be terrible, I'm not going to watch. And so it's like you have that, and you just like, but at the same, even Sophia mentions to Eve is, you must know how, basically like, how to kind of not so much stay alive, but how to kind of relate to, how how to change your who you are to fit
Yeah.
whoever, like you're getting something out of me because you've had to adapt to your clients. and
Yeah.
what their wants are. So she's like, they both knew they were kind of playing each other, but had come to especially a real clear understanding after Sophia let her know, I'm not the hangman, and Oz basically has lied to you this entire time because
Yeah.
she wanted you afraid of me. Like, and while he continued to work for the guy who who who
Who
did
actually
who
did that?
actually
And
did it. Right.
Oz knows how much that affected Eve.
Right.
So it wasn't like he kept working for the guy and didn't associate with Eve. Like he continued working for Carmine while still having a relationship with Eve. It it makes him look even worse, which I know they have done a good job of reminding you, like especially with the Flames last episode. He's not a great guy, but then you see the things, and you wonder what his motivations are, if they're pure or not. But
Mhm.
when he went to the whoever the politician was to get the lights turned back on,
Right.
in Crown Point, like you see he cares for the people there.
Right.
It
Yeah, he sees
very
himself as
complex
like a
character.
very modern day Robin Hood, like stealing from
Yes,
the
he
rich to
wants
give
to
to the
be
poor.
seen like the guy he kept referencing in all those
Exactly.
episodes.
Exactly. Yeah, he definitely wants to be him. He's just bumbling his way about it. Like
Yeah,
you see it things going, but like this clearly shows, like you said, you're seeing, with Sophia walking into the Crown Point apartment and seeing, and again, once again, being confronted with a family, one that Oz has kept hidden from her, and
yes,
two, seeing another family dynamic that once again she did not have. She sees the son type of, she sees one, she hears his mother say, that's my boy, that's my boy, that's
a
so
proud parent.
a proud parent. And
Yeah,
then she sees Vic dancing with his mother in like a sweet kind of, like they've built this family dynamic,
yeah,
and he's hid this from me the entire time. So yeah, I again, great, phenomenal episode. Like just
yeah.
how you would interweave all those different family dynamics throughout that one episode in various ways, kind of all to end up showing you that, uh, even though Sophia might hold the power at that moment, like she is she's grown up without, and she hasn't had the one thing that he's been like kind of wealthy in, like
Yeah,
family,
for
and
sure.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
and then you wonder what comes next, and I know you want the show to finish so you can see where it ends, but I just can't help but look ahead, not necessarily to how the show's going to end, but how it relates to the Batman sequel, because it's like, okay, there's no way that like these two groups don't trust each other at all. Now, Penguin has joined up with all of the other gangs,
Right.
and then you have the two big crime families over here. There's no way both of you survive like unless Batman's fighting both of you. Like, is the sequel going to be their war affects all of Gotham, or is it going to be that one of them beats the other and that other one is a player in the sequel? Like, and I know that I'm getting ahead of myself and that's my own fault. I should just be enjoying the show, but knowing that there's a sequel right around the
Yeah,
corner, I'm
sure.
like, which one of you?
Especially
Because
when,
you both can't be here.
right, especially when you've also heard the rumors that it's not even going to be either one of them that's
Right.
the
Yeah.
villain. Like
Yeah.
neither one of them is supposed to be the villain, but it's like, and you have it's getting colder in Gotham.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly. Like,
so does that feed into the Victor Freeze storyline that we're
exactly.
coming in, or are they going, like, is it going to be just based around the Penguin? I don't know, but I mean, like
Yeah.
it's good because it is a, where is this going? Where is this ending? What will we do? And the fact that you're going to then have to be sitting around waiting for
Like,
2 years
I was gonna
before
say like 2 years.
the Batman 2 comes
Yeah.
out. So, but yeah, I mean, just amazing blessings in TV
It was
for
a good
just
week
those
of
two shows.
just though like legitimately those two shows have been carrying us for a while now, and it's funny knowing that we had a Star Wars show that I was hoping they figured things out. And then
Right.
you have House of the Dragon
It's
that
just
was a
always,
very good season. And I'm sitting here, and some might think it's recency bias, but like, no, like if I'm analyzing all of the series I've watched this year, I'm probably putting Penguin and Agatha like
oh,
way up
oh
there.
yeah. Like, and like, hopefully you're like, okay, well then we got Dune after this. So like, hope it just keeps going, like they
Right.
we just keep rolling on this train
Yeah.
of like great series because for a while you're like, oh my God, these are like everything. You don't want to be like stinkers, but you're like,
Yeah.
I've been giving my time and energy to a show or a movie, and this is not panning out. And again, yes, thankfully we did have House of the Dragon, and it's like one of those things where you almost kind of take it for granted, like it's better be good because it should be good because it's House of the
Yeah.
Dragon.
Right.
But to have unexpected, like everybody was hoping the Penguin would be good, but again, wasn't a lot of fanfare
No.
heading up to it. And I feel like there still isn't even a lot online.
I talk to everybody I know that is into these type of shows, and I'm like, if you are not watching The Penguin, you need to start. Like, because
Yeah,
it is so good. They took a villain that, I mean, obviously he can stand alone. Danny DeVito did great in
right,
everything else. But when you look at the Batman universe and the Joker and Mr. Freeze, all these different villains, and you're like, oh yeah, the Penguin, no superpowers, just
right,
a guy with a limp. Who, by his own admission in the movie, is not the guy in charge. Like, you're gonna make a good show out of this? Yes. Yeah, like you said, it was so unexpected. The fanfare around both of these shows wasn't there. It
right,
reminds me of what I had said a few episodes ago, where one of my favorite highlights of 2024 so far was the unexpected movie gems in Civil War and The Fall Guy. Because
right.
when you have the
Sure.
big blockbuster movies that you have been looking forward to, 2024 started, The Fall Guy and Civil War were not on my radar. Honestly, didn't even know they were being made. Like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I heard about them. Had
Right.
no idea anything about them. And both of those movies I walked out completely just blown away.
Right.
These two shows I knew about, but was nervous going into both of them for essentially the same reasons. There wasn't a lot of hype around them. Marvel has been putting out some duds recently, so you get a story about a side character that we really didn't need a show for. And then, honestly, I could kind of say the same thing for the Penguin. And I'm coming towards the end of both of those shows, and I'm like, look, they're cooking. They're
It's the
cooking.
best TV out there. Like, yeah, you're just like, it's the best thing you got out there. It's again,
Yeah.
it's so far it's been great because it's been the movies and the series that you haven't been like again, you're gonna watch them and like, yeah, but it's like you're not like, oh, like I'll tell you like the movie Conclave that came out.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people won't go see it because they'll think that was just a whole bunch of old white people in it. One of the best movies I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Like, and it's comes off the guy who directed All Quiet on the Western Front that was the Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like this is kind of his first one after that. And it's so good. So, but again, it's one of those like I didn't have any like
Yeah.
like and everybody was like hoping that it would be Joker 2 and Venom 3 and like and those not so great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not so good. So yeah, no, just if again, like we were saying, is if you haven't seen Agatha, watch it with us out. With we don't even know how it's going to end, and if it might be like shooting, and it might be a dud. It might be these last two episodes might just fizzle out completely. But if you stop it on this episode, was this 5 or 6?
I think
5.
this was six for
Oh,
Agatha
okay,
because I think the episode or one of them had an extra episode, so maybe this one was six because the double episode is seven, eight, I think.
okay. Whatever it is, you could stop it right after the Patty LuPone episode and just be like,
Yeah.
and still think it's probably one of the best written shows out there. So yeah, and the Penguin. If you're not watching the Penguin, I don't know, I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what you're doing because I
Because if
mean
Colin Firth, I count Colin
no,
Firth,
Colin
no
Farrell. Colin
Farrell.
Firth
Oh, yes, I
is
know who
the other
Colin
guy.
Firth is. Yes, Pride and yeah, okay. Colin
Yes.
Farrell. If Colin Farrell doesn't win an Emmy for this,
Right.
I
Like,
if let me tell you something. If I don't even know if they do hair and makeup on the Emmys, but if hair and makeup doesn't win for the Penguin, for her hair
protest.
alone, I'm telling you, when she goes from an innocent, how they flash back and she's got the innocent and she's got the hair pulled back in a little ponytail and she got the little like suburban bangs and she's got that all rocking and her evolvement or devolvement, however you want to see it, and
Yes.
her hair has become rocking and her
Yes.
eyeliner is
Yeah.
this mullet that she had in this last one. When they opened up with that and she had a homeboy tied to the chair, I was like, let's delve into this for a little bit.
That is the other part. I was like, let's just time out for a second. This, no notes. So
Right.
good.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I think did we start
We
this too
missed
late?
something, but that is such good writing because that is exactly the type of situation that I would expect her to be in.
Exactly. Yes. So, yeah. So on that note, we are going to end this and we are going to watch some football that
Yes.
should hopefully not end well, should end
Yes.
well for both of us.
It should end well for both of us because I
Good.
am the Steelers' biggest fan today. Like
That's
I
right.
as much as I dislike the 49ers, I was their biggest fan last night.
That's right. We are both on the same page tonight. Let's hope
Yes.
we are hoping that Daniel Jones does not have the game of his life tonight.
Yes.
So, on that note, we are going to say bye and yeah, more good TV this week, hopefully. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Bye.